I'm starting with the chicken for the chicken tikka masala, and I'm just piercing these chicken thighs. Chicken tikka masala means nothing more than chicken. Tikka means little pieces. Masala is just the spice blend that we're gonna be using. Pretty simple, right? And I'm using chicken thighs because they're so much more forgiving than breasts. You know, I'm gonna grill these and then I'm gonna cook them in a curry sauce. So I don't want them to dry out. I'm gonna make a very simple yogurt marinade. So I'm using just some plain whole milk yogurt. I'm using whole milk because I think it holds on just a little bit better than the non-fat, but if you're watching what you eat, use the non-fat, it's just fine. So about a cup's worth. And then I'm using this ginger garlic paste. This is one of the things I always have in the fridge. My mum always has it in the fridge. It's just equal parts of ginger and garlic blended together with some canola oil, and it just makes me hungry when I smell it. The ginger is sort of refreshing, a little bit spicy. The garlic has that great bite. If you don't have it, no worries. Just use 3 cloves of garlic, maybe a tablespoon of ginger grated finely, and you'll be golden. All right, some salt, some pepper, and that's your marinade. It's super easy, isn't it? So now that the chicken is nicely pierced, that marinade's gonna go all the way through. And the yogurt actually tenderizes the chicken a little bit. It's doing a couple things at once. I'm gonna give this a toss, and I'm gonna let it just sit on the back counter there at room temperature while I finish my sauce. You could also make this, cover it with plastic, and let it marinate overnight in the fridge. It's great. The sauce. So I'm just gonna preheat this pan, and I'm gonna use a little bit of olive oil for that great flavor, which, you know, we don't actually use a lot of olive oil in Indian food. I just think it's so delicious, though. And I'm not cooking this at a very high heat, so it's not gonna burn. Then for even more flavor and a little richness, some butter, right there, and I'm just gonna let that melt. Okay, so for my flavor base, I'm gonna do a very traditional Indian flavor base, which is serranos, ginger, and garlics. All right, so my butter's nicely melted, adding the serranos. As soon as they hit the oil, I can smell them. I'm gonna put a good couple teaspoons of this ginger garlic paste in here. So a good old squeeze of tomato paste. I'm just gonna cook it until it deepens in color and kind of caramelizes. So now it's time to add some spices, and I'm just using 2 to keep it really easy. I'm using 2 teaspoons of paprika, mostly for color, but it has a nice earthiness to it that I love. Then I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of garam masala. It's a little bit of a cheat. It has a ton of different spices in here. Cinnamon and cloves, cumin and coriander in there too. Great way to sneak some Indian flavor into whatever you're making. This is the bulk of your sauce, these gorgeous, gorgeous tomatoes. I'm using the Roma kind. You can also use a can of tomatoes if you don't have good fresh ones. They look great. So that's the masala part of the chicken tikka masala. But what about the chicken, you ask? Here it is. So it's been marinating in yogurt, ginger, and garlic, a little salt and pepper, and I'm gonna treat it to a good grilling. Okay, so I'm just gonna check on them periodically, see if it's good and charred on the one side, and then flip it over. I'm gonna add just a touch of water here. The tomatoes are really gonna break down. I'm gonna turn this up a little because I wanna bring it to a boil and then simmer for about 20 minutes. Time to put the chicken in. This comes together so quickly. I love, love, love this dish. So the chicken was marinated in yogurt, ginger, and garlic, a little salt and pepper, and then I charred it on this grill pan to give it a little extra flavor and great texture. As my final little flavoring touch, I'm gonna use some dried fenugreek leaves. In Hindi, we call it methi. We use these a lot in Indian cooking. Has a great, really, really pungent aroma, almost maple-like. So if you can't find these, then try a little maple syrup. That's great. So I'm just gonna give this a stir and, you know, use your judgment. This actually could cook uncovered, but if it's too thick, then put a lid on it. I'm just gonna let this cook 5-10 minutes so the sauce goes into the chicken goes into the sauce. Ah, I can't wait. For a little decadence, you could also do some half and half. But this gives it that nice, creamy quality and actually kind of soothes some of that heat, some of the spiciness. So, look at that color, you guys. It looks so good.